I keep it 99, and then I round it the fuck up.
All right, man, we're rolling. We're 10 seconds away from Jaiku. Hey, man, I signed us up for a little red player action because we've been rocking that Death Trooper for so long. I thought maybe this would be good for our soul.
Yeah, maybe we switch it up. I'm with it.
Little
Oh, wait, which one
transiciones.
is the... Oh, red player action.
Jaiku. We like taking a nice B on this first one.
Take the objective. Take the objective.
Welcome to Jakku.
Jaiku in the bowling league. Dude, 20. You ever see the movie 21 Days Later?
No.
It's a zombie movie.
Later.
This broadcast. Good.
Nope. Go ahead.
This broadcast is exactly 21 days since our last broadcast. We've had a 2-week hiatus broadcast-wise. Last week I was down at a wild plant medicine cafe down in Denver and attended an educational event on the use of St. Peter cactuses in ritual situations. It's very legal situation here in the Denver area and in most 50 states, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yes. The St. Peter cactus is a mescaline-containing cactus, but it is an ornamental cactus. And people have it in their yards, and it's very beautiful. And I don't know when it crosses the line. When you're eating your garden, it becomes illegal.
Yeah, that's what's weird about most drug policy, especially like plant medicine policy.
Yeah. Well,
like synthetic stuff. I mean, makes sense. If
right.
We're gonna make it commercially, well, and if we're gonna regulate economics at all, that type of stuff, you should regulate.
You should regulate.
You gotta keep it safe.
Dude, Cheryl and I watched Painkiller on Netflix this weekend. Have you seen this situation?
Painkiller, no.
Okay, it's about the Sackler family, and it's about OxyContin and how they made and marketed OxyContin.
This, but I need to watch it. Okay, but I haven't.
Oh God, it
come up.
Such a good dramatization of the whole thing, but it just shows the weakness of the FDA. A single person approves the use of heroin in everywhere in America, and and all of the safeguards that government is supposed to be providing. They're just one person can approve heroin. What are you talking about, safeguards? Like this is the
Yeah,
in
it's still
India.
a bureaucracy and
Yeah.
the bureaucracy has to form and it has to go through expansions and contractions, and at certain points a lot of power is going to get concentrated sometimes, just the way it is, baby.
Yeah, concentrated power, and just the reality that it takes a lot of effort to stop some people from, really taking advantage of the situation, and that's what regulation is for. It's to make sure that people aren't selling heroin legally in just pill form, and and marketing it as non-addictive. There's nothing that says, there's no real research that says it's not addictive. It's like that's not a real thing. So, yeah. So anyway, the government's like, hey, we're gonna make some laws that make these drugs illegal, but our bureaucracy cares so much about this principle that we're going to publish heroin in every pharmacy, like just everywhere, and just let this company just ramp up, like,
Right, like where are the checks on things that
yeah,
make
it's
lots of money.
the legitimacy of the government trying to say no to one thing and yes to another is made so much better by Lady Justice being blind and it being fair, and it not just being about political intrigue and corruption. Like political intrigue and corruption, like it undermines the authority of those bodies to say one thing or t'other, and the proof is in the pudding. People don't listen to it if it's nonsense. I remember, and I heard this from Matt Taibbi, who is a journalist who broke the Twitter letters,
Files.
the Twitter files, exactly. His thing was that that the government in Russia was so corrupt, that there was, everybody knew that they were not telling the truth, and everybody knew that they would lie. And so none of the people trusted the government's, what they were saying on it, and you had to sort of read between the lines and do all this other stuff. And he was mourning the fact that there was a time in American history that wasn't true. You know, that you could actually trust the government. Like it did it's done on some things, maybe not so much, but it has done a fairly good job of keeping some things in the bottle, and it's not been doing a great job of that. Like it's at its lowest point for reigning in its own power and handling its own corruption. It's the politicians not following their own laws, and in any event, there's a real crisis that is, I think, made better when it is fair. And no one's going to accept a system that's just like, long term, no one's going to accept a system that's so, unbalanced like that. It just doesn't, there's not, the writing's on the wall. It just doesn't work that way. It's got to be reformed.
Yeah. Well, it's an imbalance of power. Anytime there's an imbalance of power, there's ways to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And now you just have, nowadays we just have regulation arbitrage essentially, so you're regulating against each other on moral and ethical grounds in a very slow justice system.
Well, and why is it so slow? Like, why isn't it required to keep up with the times?
Yeah.
Like, it's just okay that it gets to be that slow? Why does it get to be that slow? It's like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
every American is...
government scale to match
every American
the
is entitled to a
complexity of the
jury by
problem.
peer. But it's so expensive to jury by peer that the judicial system goes out of its way to stay out of court. So it offers deals, and it coerces, and it tries to buy informants, and it tries to get people to flip. It's like, if everybody who was taken in by the justice system said, "Give me a trial by jury," it would fail. Yeah, and they're entitled to it in the Constitution. It's supposed to be a right of citizenship. So why can't we innovate on some legal shit and get some actual peers evaluating each other? That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a bunch of peers evaluating each other, but when less than 1% of all trials go to a peer jury, what does that mean? and the system tries to keep you out of court, like tries to punish you if you go to court. They're like, if you go to court, we'll throw the book at you. And it's like, it's my right to go to court. Why don't I get a fair trial? You're intimidating me not to go to court.
Right.
Like, because it's going to be expensive? Why charge me with a law? Why have so many laws? If laws are this expensive, why don't someone pay the real price, man? Like, just let's decide which ones we want and which ones we don't want.
Right.
You can't just keep all the laws. Then you selectively enforce laws. So what does that mean? That means that who's deciding what's legal and not? It's not the people through their legislatures. In this case, it would be, the judicial system through its prosecutors are deciding what's legal and what's not.
Yeah,
and that's crazy. It's crazy to call it law of the land, except it's if Bob over there wants it or not. What? What does that mean?
It's stable enough you can, I don't know, track markets over it. Like, it slows it down. Oh, fuck.
Well,
yeah,
it's interesting.
Snipe that guy.
Yeah.
It slows it down. Oh my goodness. Got backdoored.
Anyway, I think there's a lot of common ground here for Americans, as Americans, to make this system better. Like, if you make it better for America, you make it better for Americans. And that is where we could put our energy and our focus. We could be in it to win it for ourselves and for our fellow man. Like, actual, what's the right word for that? Patriotism.
Yeah.
We get talking about some crazy subjects on this particular transmission.
Yeah. This is the
You know what I think it might be?
bro.
I think it's general frequencies. I think our antenna are out a little more to the humans in the future, the AIs of the past, whoever that are listening to this or whatever, and it's almost as if it demands certain responses.
Things to say.
Things to say.
Well, there's things we see. Let's talk about
I
what
think-
you see.
I think it would be so cool if people did get their jury trials and the legal system was just funded enough, or if they said, hey, we can't fund all these laws, then go, cool, cut them back. Cut them back. Like figure out what's really important to enforce and enforce that, and then leave the optional stuff off the table. Why are there optional laws? What the
Or,
fuck? Yeah.
right, if everything is done off of precedent based off of all this documented types of intent, why do you need so many laws if you can just do court systems based off of precedent, off of fewer
What
laws?
about a more, you know, in the third world, they don't have money for big buildings and courts and all this kind of stuff, and maybe their system of
More
justice is
corrupt,
different than
people
ours.
eat shit more often, dude.
You mean just like polluted water sources, or like what do you mean?
No, like corruption,
Oh.
less justice, you know.
Less
like,
justice. Oh, I see what you're saying. Right.
Just harder.
I think it's a hybrid. It's not like relying on the system. It's also community. It's also
Yeah.
community
There's definitely
enhancement.
completely other different types of enhancements that exist,
Yeah.
which are hard
Like-
to
like-
understand.
Well, Jesus said,
Sure,
if you
that's true.
if you and somebody are on the way to court and you can settle outside of court, settle outside of court, because that system is not going to give you the true justice that you're seeking. Like, it's really only conversation with your neighbor that's going to give you the lasting and the true
Right,
justice.
Which means it's just more expensive. You're gonna intertwine your shit with a bunch of other people. That's
Well, and also just lawyer fees, and that's it's a for-profit model for the lawyers who are running that system, who are, you know, making that system turn around and do tricks. Dude, this is some dark vision we're spooling out here.
what?
This is some dark vision. All I'm seeing is issues and problems.
Yeah, we got solution man.
Solutions. Maybe Rando Solutions is okay. Let me think here about this for a second.
Ow.
Well, I think there's corruption in every part of the government, and that's why each part is supposed to take its job seriously. The executive branch is supposed to appoint judges, not for rando reasons, but because they're good judges. If you have rando politicians, they make rando judges. And that gives you rando corruption on many levels. And maybe there's corruption between the branches, you know? And that's not good.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is there's no free lunch. You got to everybody's got to do their job, and there should be some accountability and some accountability to
Right.
actually do that work.
So this is what an interesting model I've heard some people talk about.
Yes.
Is to put veracity bonds on news sources.
Veracity
So
bonds
people
on news
actually-
sources.
So essentially, people have to bet on
Oh.
the level of truth of their posts.
Yeah, like a market, like a betting market
Yeah,
or whatever.
Create a betting market on truth and let people make money off of truth.
How do you
finding
judge it in the
truth.
end? Is it factual? Just all only facts can be voted on or something?
Well, essentially you're gonna have an internet community debating about it. You're gonna get to watch that debate and decide for yourself. And because that
Well, I just take some debate. Debate usually is how we do these things.
Because there's stake in the because there's actual money on the line, you can make
You
the
can kinda rely on that.
discussion- You can
Yeah.
make the discussion happening that's deciding that public and
Oh, interesting.
or like somehow like
Gee, many Christmas. Maybe not jump
You
over
have
the
to
edge
have-
like this.
yeah. Anyway, but veracity bonds on news. That's the
Interesting.
solution.
That is an interesting market dynamic. It would be interesting to see how that would play out.
Jiminy Christmas.
I'm with you in 7. Dude. Here's the key, though. If we don't, or what, there is so much value in having a system that can work. There's so much real value in it. Let's hope it's profitable.
Yeah, it would be nice if truth was profitable. Got Ray.
I saw you do it.
Damn it.
Nice.
Uh,
Dude, they're like taking this ramp from us. We got 23 seconds to make a difference.
this will be a difference.
We got to get on station here. 23 seconds.
Yeah, honestly, like, in my surveying of options, of watching humans and thinking about project management and
Yeah.
positive incentives and whatnot.
Yes.
I feel like betting, like, you have to be able to, like, you're talking about you want to talk about we were talking on this time about universal basic income. Well,
Oh, yeah,
how
yeah,
about
yeah.
universal basic bet on your friend's success income and put that on your coworkers, and then you can
Interesting.
kind of watch what other people are doing and be able to bet on them and leave comments in ways that can be different levels of privacy, maybe. You know, some dojo effects in terms of how that data can be read. Um,
No, I think the blockchain stuff is amazing because
Because you can
there's something
have
solid
that-
in it.
yeah, you can have that.
It's a ledger for
immutability.
behavior. You could rig but then it's like, okay, so then it's Chinese Communist credit score, like like social credit score kind of stuff. That's like the dark
Or
side
it's
of it.
or it's a betting portfolio.
A betting portfolio.
It's a social
Dude.
betting portfolio.
I wonder if it'll ever be an actual store of
And
value.
it's more but it's a store of corporate value. This is your bucks. This is like your governance bucks if you're thinking in terms of DAO.
Interesting.
And stuff like that. Because then you can build in just normal business incentive models based off of your OKR planning and different thresholds you set for how much chum you're throwing in the water,
That's interesting. That's super interesting. The what I've seen of like with Cardano especially, like the investment of all that ADA into all those processes. I mean, kind of looking over your shoulder on it, it is kind of amazing. It's kind of a very focused way to invest some value, like to structure it, come up with an actual plan and like
Well,
programs and projects that build towards a vision and
I
towards
don't
a.
necessarily it's like it might be a focused model.
Mm,
But it's actually honestly I wouldn't say it's very focused approach. It's very shotgun.
very shotgun.
And it's not even continuous. Like, you're not getting projects, like a project can't guarantee funding for next year, so there's
Yeah.
no long-term, like, not even like the leader of that project can say,
We're going to be
I know for a
employed.
fact I'm at least going to be able to pay myself next year, let alone pay 50 other people.
That is some high risk
know?
shit right there.
It is high risk. The people who do it are admirable and fucking cowboys, and they're killing it. And the ones that there's not many that have been able to last. They last on passion in the seat of their pants.
That's Pando. Pando just got something. We're not watching our
Come
chat.
on.
Pando just got somebody. Did somebody give something to Pando? Could you hear that?
There's no message. No, I didn't hear it.
Oh, it was like
There's no
a.
messages.
Oh, there's no messages? Okay. Dude, maybe the Pando got fed or something crazy. Don't feed that animal. That thing's
Don't
not
feed
real.
that fucking savage.
No, I mean, Jesus, don't spend any real money to get a digital thing. If you want it to say something, just type it in the chat and I'll say it. Save your $1.
Unless it pays us. I mean.
It does pay us a little amount, but we'd have to set up a wallet. Who can figure any of that out? Just joking.
Yeah. Okay.
Just kidding.
Did you try?
Did you try? Or did you just assume?
Did you try?
Did you try, or did you just assume that it wasn't gonna work?
No, it's not about making money. Paul's like, mind block. We don't make. It's not about making money.
No, I just would feel bad. That little sick animal. That
No,
little
I don't
sick panda.
I don't think. I mean, I think it's cool that you can
No.
make a
It's
panda and unleash it on the internet.
evac
and
live.
and you can take fees off of other people's streams.
Dude, we just
But-
got a new Twitch
I don't
follower.
think we do that.
Evac live. That's what Panda was celebrating. Good. Good job,
Yo,
Panda.
Evac
Nice job.
Live. What up, bruh?
Nice job.
Or
Nice job.
lady?
When you're evacuating live or live, evac live. Maybe you're living in evacuation. Evacuated
Evac
state.
Live.
All right. Hey, buddy.
Did we lose that one, or did we
Here.
capture it? Waiting for
Here.
objective.
Hold on, here we go.
We have the initiative. Now push the assault. Secure those positions and command posts. Hostile spotted.
Oh my god. That's what's going on.
We have been joined by Captain Phasma.
I can't believe I just lived through that. I just had to run and get some extra bonus kitty treats. That was pretty amazing. I'm not dead.
Bonus kitty treats. I need
Bonus
to
kitty
die.
treats.
Oh no. This is what I want. Okay, Peter, hold steady. Damn it. A little too close for comfort there. On you in 5.
I guess it really makes me appreciative of when a person is like a senator or like a leader or like a governor and they're really doing it, you know? They're like
How can
really
you tell, though?
results.
Like when they, but okay, yeah,
Like they get it done.
yeah.
We've got Jared Paulus? Jared Paulus. He's been pretty good. Colorado's had some really good local, had some good local governance. We've had a lot of, we've been pretty well managed around here from a local level, and it is exciting. They've had some problems, they've had some things, but they've gotten a lot of things right. The federal, national stuff just seems FUBAR.
What's FUBAR stand for again?
Fucked up beyond all recognition.
Okay. Yeah, because it's too small. Well, it's too small. Yeah, the volume, bro. We're talking about like we cannot. It's too expensive. We spend so much money on random shit though.
Cheryl and I we're rewatching this thing called For All Mankind. It's an iTunes show, and it's about what if NASA like kind of took more risks and sort of went into a for-profit model. And by like the early 90s, NASA's like turning a profit and they can kind of call their own shots, and the science that they like to do for exploration is like commercialized, and they're doing great. It's kind of like an alternate timeline kind of situation. And dude, that's the stage I was setting. Why the hell was I setting that stage? Something about the something about those guys.
NASA dudes.
NASA dudes.
Having a opportunity to do. Oh my.
Dude, it'll
God,
come back to
there's
me.
a swarm
It'll
of
come back to
them.
me. Well, it's a pretty cool show, and it's there was something about it though. Something was tied into what we were saying. I'll figure it out. No worries. Ray's over here. Got her.
Kylo Ren has deigned to join us. With us, we will surely be victorious.
What's kind of cool is in a certain, it's like space travel for profit, but that's what SpaceX is. Privately owned space travel. I mean, their biggest customer is like the U.S. government, but the U.S. government wants to get into space, and so they're like they're like an Uber for space. So, in any event, one of the themes of this thing was that NASA gets all capitalistic, and it's kind of interesting to see that play out. Oh, but here's my point. I found my point. My point was that as I'm watching this, and NASA gets capitalistic and starts turning a profit, which is cool. All I'm thinking is, dude, you started NASA with national funds, which included the South and the West Coast and just a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, there's some launches out of Vandenberg, and there's a lot of military spending on the West Coast. But in terms of like the other parts of the country, like the South and stuff, I was like, there is no thought being given to how this is going to look, because in another part of America. Because you're basically concentrating this power, this space access in NASA, but it's an East Coast thing, and it's kind of run by East Coasty kind of people, and there's kind of a military thing, so it kind of makes it more universal. But like in general, it's definitely an East Coast thing. The amount of wealth that has been poured into Washington D.C., into Virginia, with all of the the home of the CIA and like all of the military stuff that's up there. That stuff is that is your bubble. You're a financial, political power bubble that doesn't have to talk to anyone else. And so when there's corruption, it basically means that those people aren't forced to take into consideration that the only reason why they're able to do all of the shit that they do is because they're the federal government of the United States. You don't exist without these other states.
And they're sitting in a nest of 200 years of generational wealth pumping into those regions of the country.
Like just entitlement and like, of course it's ours, of course we can undermine the whole country, of course we can take taxes from the smallest town, and give them nothing back in return and just funnel it to all this corruption and graft and whatever else.
That's interesting to see that pattern. I think that's why these new decentralized funding models.
Accountability.
Like the governance of a different type of money faucet off of a government's treasury. Like, what does that look like? And can we experiment with different models? And yes, we can.
Is it too weird to say that all of America's tax like all the money that the U.S. government spends has to be done on a blockchain? Is that just too weird? Is it just too controversial that our taxes would have to be accounted for down to the last penny? Like by math?
Technically they are.
No, they lose all kinds of it.
I know, they
billions, trillions. Black sites.
What you can do is you can track the money, but you're still gonna want to not be able to have everyone know where the money's going, because that's too.
You don't want an open government like that for your enemies.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so it's got to have
completely open book.
But how about some trust? How about some trusted elders?
Right.
How about somebody who should? How about you make one group of people that have complete incentives to catch the others, and they can see their total.
Well, and that's why.
Or U.S. citizens.
Oversight. It's about oversight. So you can have compartmentalization, but you have to have the periodic, very random review.
You can't just like let it be corrupt.
You can't just like let it be corrupt and kind of lose track of where everything starts, what starts happening. Ow.
Yeah.
Ouch. And so that's why we need new sandboxes for governments. Essentially, you gotta, and I think that's what's cool about blockchains. Is blockchains provide a economic ecosystem for the experimentation of governance models.
Yeah.
Because just because so far the technology is
Well, an accountability
It's tokens
would
and-
be amazing. Like the
Yeah.
amount of like but I just love the idea that if you're going to have something as precious as the money raised from the United States people, you should have just a next
Hey,
level
alright, why
accountability
not-
for
let's
that.
not say money. Like, let's say the collective energy garnished off of the efforts
people.
of everybody.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
money is like a little abstract. Like,
Right, I hear
you.
Well, start with money.
Yeah, start with money, but it's like that's raw. That's energy. That's energy from effort.
Well, I think that yes, there's so much vibe out there right now just about the corruption and the here's what's cool. I think one of the reasons why we're seeing so much upheaval in our society is because of technology revealing stuff that
Communication technology.
just was around anyway. Like we were living with all this stuff but had no idea
But
about
we're
it.
also scaling like crazy still.
Yeah.
And the communication technology allows for more intricate levels of scaling, and therefore more intricate levels of corruption too.
Yeah.
And more drama
Interesting.
that can be documented.
Right.
And it takes so long
imbibed.
for shit to trickle out. Like the
We
big
got 1
money of
minute.
the world is like locked up in. Like there's plenty of industries and companies and land management, large asset management firms that are like 100, 250-year strategies. And they're rocking on millions of dollars earned generations back.
There is almost no time left. Secure victory at once.
There's lots of
22 seconds. Count it down. 18 seconds. 13
get
seconds.
on there.
9, 8, 7, 6. Contesting. OT. Alright, let's keep this.
Got it.
With a knight of red fighting with us, we will surely be victorious.
Keeping on the capping. Keeping up the capping. Oh, this is crazy. Well, it's never been a better time to identify the people we support and to be putting support into the right people's hands and to be voting for the right people and reaching out for the right solutions. All hands on deck, dude. All hands on deck.
All
hands on deck. We gotta make
out the good
every
shit
single
your friends are doing.
ounce of weight you can bring to bear to make a better world, to love your neighbor, to increase the peace, to increase the awesomeness. We have access to more resources than any time in history. Let's rock this. Okay, we're gonna cut to break.
Cut to
Handbrake of the Gods. We haven't played this one in a while.
Incredible as it might sound,
Nope,
they
doesn't look like it.
incoming resistance assault group. They will pay a high price for their
This is a fun one.
Ready the defenses.
Target area.
Do we normally play this side?
We usually do play this side. We just don't usually play the red trooper. We're playing that. We play the other subplot. One of the other subplots.
Yeah,
We were just getting so good at those other ones. But that was 21 days ago, so we're out of practice. Probably would have been perfect.
right. All the algorithms are jacked. Let's go.
Okay, we're having some real crowding issues over on B.
Oh yeah, I was looking at the time. Hard stop at 10.
Okay.
For me.
Nice. Love it.
So
That's
top
very
of the hour.
reasonable.
Ow.
New enemy landing. Top resistance agent.
The resistance clearly have some qualified fighters among them, but we'll defeat them in the next.
Well, it's going to be interesting how this all shakes out. These next few years with everything.
Yeah.
I mean, we are full on in the midst of technology just disrupting everything. Like everything. Politics.
Command posts
All
Yeah,
of it.
well,
defend them with all your
technology's gonna disrupt contraction too. Not
I
just
heard a pretty. I've heard a
expansion.
pretty astute analysis from RFJ or RFK.
Yeah.
He was saying that every presidential election has been sort of won on the back of like a new technology. Like Obama got social media in like 2008, like Trump got Twitter in 2016, and he's like, it's the podcast now. Like just talking directly to the people. I mean, if you think about that, that's crazy, right? Like there's so many podcasts that have eaten up all of the mind share of the things
Right.
that used to be TV. And there's, I mean, it's where the audience went. And they're not watching TV anymore, like not the old models of it. So it's like all of the control of the last system was all based on that older kind of media, and now you got this newer media that's displacing the old. And so it's like, but that's all technology driven. Like the putting of, it's so easy to make a podcast. It's so easy to send thoughts out into the world. That's kind of a crazy thing that like all of this trouble with the old guard hanging on so strong with the politics could just be because they're losing power and they have to do all these dirty tricks to stay in power.
Well,
Otherwise, it would just be
honestly,
replaced.
Yeah, it's technology, but it's also, yeah, it's not this technology specifically, because like in the early 2000s, there were podcasts. You were making podcasts in the early 2000s. There were
2004 was
podcasts
my first
before
podcast.
There was podcasts before there was Twitter. All right,
Yes.
but it's like it's
Adoption
bandwidth
of it.
as well.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
bandwidth of the populace. Like in other countries, Twitter, I'm sure, is more potent than podcasting, where the bandwidth is much
I
less.
see.
You know, like where you don't want to be watching full length YouTube videos or YouTube interviews, or
Yeah.
or because it's so much bandwidth to use, it's higher bandwidth to use Spotify. I mean, I don't know how accessible Spotify's probably pretty accessible, just audio
Yeah.
files in third world countries, but
Yeah.
bandwidth is such a big deal in second, third world countries. I mean, even me, like I live in a first world country. I am super privileged to have gig speed fiber internet for a very affordable rate here in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And as I've thought about moving around to other places and how that would kind of disrupt the level of stability that I actually enjoy and have in this like beefy level of internet connection. And that's because fucking fiber is a it's a alien technology, you know?
Yeah, reverse
That
engineer
we've
from an
got.
alien craft, probably,
Yeah.
right? Or whatever.
And I've got some of that shit to my fucking house, you know? And how
Yeah.
many houses in, like, what percentage of the houses in the country, in the world, have that level?
Yeah, no, that's huge. And it's amazing, and we should be investing in that more. Like, that's what a government should do. A government should make sure
Right.
that everybody has it and it's the highest, and that there's good competition to make sure it's like really, really the best one, not just whatever paid off the politicians 20 years ago. This guy doesn't drive this every day.
Calling himself fit has joined the enemy. He must be neutralized.
And that's a move he knows.
The resistance
Dude.
doesn't qualify.
Yeah, no, the is super lucky to be in a bandwidth rich environment. Super lucky to be in America. Like, I mean, it's just like all of these freedoms, all of this stuff that makes America awesome. It's just got to be protected, and it just doesn't auto protect itself, you know? It's like
Well, yeah,
it's
the freedom isn't free.
the freedom isn't free, and it's like you got to have
Democracy
civics
is a
class to show
full-time
people how to pay
job.
the bill. Yeah. You got to
Democracy
eat
is
civics
full-time
classes to
job.
show people how to pay the bill. Like, and oh, for gosh sakes, like, it's just people. I mean, it's just the way that people stack up, you know?
Well, and if we do, and we need to, like, yeah, we should probably have some sort of metrics around governance and ability to, I don't know, just some, like, how come there's so much data in the market that we could own as citizens if our tech stack was a little bit different. And I think that there's going to be opportunity to capitalize on that. But it's like, yeah, you got to have that full encryption tech stack to pass it around, and then share it. And you can do that. You should be able to share that with in zero knowledge ways where you hold the data, but essentially computers can access the data in ways that other people can't see it, and
You know, I was
compare it
I heard-
without- yeah, go ahead.
I heard this interview on Breaking Points the other day about they were talking about corrupt or different just like ways that like the government sort of eats into your rights. Like when they're working with Twitter directly, they're messing with your Fourth Amendment right, where they're not supposed to be able to search you without without an actual warrant and a case and a probable
right, when they're
violation
on
of the
Twitter,
law.
but you're like in public.
This interview was very interesting because it wasn't so much just about the government, but what about just private corporations? The thing that government always does, and what they were doing with the Twitter files, is they were like, well, we whitewashed the influence through third parties, so it's not really the U.S. government, even though they found direct evidence of the Biden administration requesting that things be taken down, or demanding that things be taken down, like kind of or else. And there was a what's the right way to say it? So that was direct violations, but even in their best defenses, they're like, well, we didn't do it. We hired a third-party super PAC to do it. You know, a giant political slush fund of dark money to do it, and that makes it okay or something like that. You know, right? Like that. There's no principle in that. But
We hired
The,
mercenaries. We didn't kill your people.
yeah, exactly. We just hired the mercenaries who did it, and gave them whatever they wanted to make that happen, and indemnified them against a prosecution. You know, like turn the
Right.
justice system off for these people who they're going to attack. So the point being is that you not only do you need to rein in the corruption and the weirdness of government, but think about what happens in private business in that regard. It's 10x worse, 1,000x
Right.
worse. So you need a strong government to rein in strong corporations. You need strong corporations to rein in a government, or not the
Which
people have to rein. The
essentially
people
you
have to do it.
need to incentivize people to communicate better and track themselves better, so that you can just raise
Yeah,
the bar
empower
on
individuals.
accountability and
Yeah.
empower individuals to do their own justice.
Instead of using Americans' power against them by using their tax dollars to fund the things that disempower them, you use their tax dollars to fund only things that empower them, and showing what you spent the money on is just, it would be just like a huge part of that. A huge part of, verifying that that's what you were doing. Like, why would it be okay to spend any U.S. money at all against Americans? But that stuff, it's been, that's what they're doing. That's what the intelligence agencies are doing, is they're, psyopsing their own people,
Yeah.
doing stuff against the will of the people. Kennedy on down.
It's wild.
It's wild.
January 6s and shit.
Well, and then January 6th, and all of that they held off the National Guard that day. And that there's just not been an accounting of that interview that Tucker Carlson did with the head of the Capitol Police. That was eye-opening.
Right. No,
like
no, yeah. I had what do they call I had a professor in college.
Yeah.
Who used to be a ranger.
Uh-huh.
And he was like some type of, I don't remember his rank, but he was in charge of he was in charge of an operation that would protect the Capitol building in case of or was it the White House? It was the White House or the Capitol building in case of, shit going wrong. And essentially, he is in charge of 300 or 1,000 troops that could be mobilized from under the city, and he would command them from the top
Jesus.
of the building.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
Urban violence quelling
Well, yeah, for the capital, yeah.
for the Capitol.
In the
Yeah.
capital city. And he's a
To put down civil unrest, basically.
or yeah, well, definitely the ability to do so in a very
In a legal
lethal
manner,
or
I'm sure. But
humane, legal manner.
Yeah.
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Lethal
Exactly.
or completely humane.
I mean, if someone doesn't want to go to jail, it would be those things.
Massive amount of force could just be dropped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, they got me. I'm with you.
And
With you in 7.
so there's no excuses for a January 6th.
No. You're right. I mean, unless they allowed it, and they were doing so
Exactly.
much of that. They were allowing violence in these
Well, you don't
cities.
get to cry like a baby about it, expect it, and then when it happens, be like, "Oh my God, what happened?"
Well, it's just
fucking figure out how to keep it from happening.
Yeah. No excuse for that failure. Well, and it was done for political reasons. It looks like they
Well,
did
yeah.
it. They did it to try to get a political outcome.
And it might not be one group, it might not be completely coordinated. Only
Did we stop them on the
partially.
first level?
We're
We haven't stopped them yet, but I think this is the first level. Like, if they win this, they get 3 more minutes, but they're out of time.
They have all the capping to do.
They have all the capping to do. Well, it'll be I would love to see some real analysis of that January 6th stuff. I would love to see some real analysis of all of the protest. Saw it. All the violence that was allowed during that pandemic. Everyone's like, "Oh, we got to move on" or whatever. It's like, dude, that was so politically driven. And who was doing the violence and all of it. It was, and who was paying for it. Like, there was so much. It was very little organic. Especially the really bad stuff. And like in Denver, it was the FBI. The FBI was boosting up the violence. I got a grenade off. Okay, they're on A. They're taking A home. These guys got B, but we're going to need A. Okay, let's run to A. Walk to work day. Let's go. So anyway, that would be a recent example of our government making it worse. because of some people thought they had the right idea, so they made it harder for Americans, like regular Americans, for some kind of political end. What is the politics that are being achieved here? What is being kept in power that should normally be swept out of power by now? You know?
Right.
That's my
Well,
question.
What communication? Yeah. What communication is blocked keeping the right solutions from getting
Yeah,
to the right?
like why?
people?
Like what do you have to put down on the internet? Otherwise, your game is up. You know, what is that?
Yeah. What do you have to account for? That's like we are what we measure. So what are we measuring? That's like that's probably a simple way of putting it, but right now politicians are measuring how much money they can make before or after they're elected.
You know how the world changes is usually by raising another generation. Like somebody's raised with a different set of ideals, you know? And it's like the internet is raising a lot of people.
It is.
A lot of people are basically
Internet is
getting their
a
view of the world from the.
fucking wild place, bro.
How are you going to keep up with that? Like, how is how is anyone in power going to keep up with?
On A.
Yeah, I gotta stop the steal on A. They got that one. They're falling back. I'm just shooting some fools out here in these
Ow.
streets.
We have one last chance at defeating the resistance and
Damn it.
prepare to
We were doing a great job defending there. We defended them to the bitter end. So, yes.
we have retreated.
I think that, I mean, technology will probably raise a generation that will be just looking at things in such a radically different way. That's,
Yeah,
I guess,
everyone's
that.
in a bubble
Yeah.
in a way, but they're also able to like look at all. They're looking at the aggregates of the bubbles in different ways, and those ways are changing over time because those algorithms are changing. They're being developed. They're being manipulated. They're being, they're just constantly changing. So there's no baseline anymore for what information you're getting. So you're just kind of constantly being polluted a little bit by a bunch of fucking lies and bullshit.
Right.
And so
Which has
this
got to
is
make
where
the truth that
social
much sweeter.
Yeah, and it should make over time the social fabric and the local ties more valuable again. But
Yeah, that's right. Because it'll basically strip the value of the other level.
because that's what I'm realizing. Like
Yeah, exactly.
it used to be like my dad knew cousins and he knew his friends and their friends' cousins, and you can maybe get a job from your friend's uncle, that type of thing.
Yep.
I don't know.
Yep.
I don't fucking talk to my friends about any of that shit because supposedly you get your jobs on the internet now and not through social ties as much. Although that's a fucking lie because it's all about who you know.
It comes down
And
to
it's
people.
all
yeah.
about and it's not, you can be able to get a bunch of people's attention on the internet, or if you're good at doing that, then you can have enough clout. Otherwise you're gonna have to earn clout in communities of people who don't care about social media presence, which there is plenty of community that doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just the only ones that everyone's got their eyes on, these few communities that the algorithm is harvesting and using to keep all of the attention on, because that's where it thinks it makes the most money.
Well, this is again back to that UBI thought. This is where a UBI becomes like next level, because if the money is kind of auto being cycled up to the top, like Pareto principle, just the way our financial system works, it all gathers it together. UBI is like a direct force in the opposite direction. You're like pushing
And
it out to
constant
every
baseline for it.
house.
It's
Every
like a-
house gets the same amount.
Right, it's
of it.
consistent. It's
Yeah.
it's a
It's like a steady
it's a
drip of
counterbalance.
yeah,
Yeah.
like make the global level as strong as you want. As long as you're pushing back to these local little levels, It's kind of like all. I think you'd see the benefits start to flower in these places. Let's rock it. Here we go. Slow ride. Handbrake of the gods. So how was your camping trip, man?
Oh, it was good. Went out to Murphy, North Carolina. Stayed at, visited this lake called Persimmons Lake.
Persimmons Lake.
Yeah, it was a pretty lake in southwestern North Carolina. It had like this, the bank was, all the rock on the bank was like this super shale, like, it's like crumbly rock, like surprisingly, like you could break it with your hand. But it was also like very, it had this metallic gold shiny shimmer in it that kind of reminded you of something you might see off of rocks or something if you were tripping, maybe.
Yeah.
But
like an iridescence?
Totally wasn't. Yeah, an iridescence, exactly. Totally wasn't. It was very consistent. Whereas if you were tripping, you're gonna have a little more wash and color variance. This was like, just gold, the color of the rock. It was different levels of brightness of shiny, but it was all the same color. It was obviously the same. Anyway, I thought it was very interesting that this was like, this rock had this lake had this shiny shale rock
Interesting.
all around it. It was,
I know I can kind of see it when you're describing it.
yeah, and it was
It's like the thin flaky sometimes gets, it's like a little thin layer of quartz or something.
And you could like crumble it in your hand and like rub it on you, and it looked like you had glitter on you, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. Nice.
Yep.
We spent a lot of time over the weekend on our front porch, and we're in Evergreen, and man, the valley was just so beautiful over the weekend and peaceful, and several storms came through, and it was like alternating rain and sunshine. It was a very beautiful, just idyllic summer weekend.
That's nice.
Yeah.
We had spent some time in the hammock, ate off around a campfire. I always like doing that.
Nice. When I got that drone, one of the things I thought about is how well it works inside, and I wanted to capture my living room. So yesterday, we are having this beautiful golden hour, just like the most amazing light, and I flew my drone in my living room, and my wife could see what the drone was seeing on my cell phone that I had next to me, and so I drove the drone, and she was like, Get more of this, get more of that. And we took some awesome pictures of our living room. I'll show you, but it was there's like just this special thing that happens sometimes in the summer. The golden hour just gets perfect. The air is like super clear, and it's like being in heaven. It's just like the light, the air, all of it. And anyway, I'm gonna see if this nice HD camera on this drone was able to capture any of that situation.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah, is it fun flying the drone in the house?
Yeah, it was super fun. The
Yeah,
cats were like, wait,
bump
what?
Bump it into anything?
Once or twice I did bump into some stuff, but it wasn't too bad. It handled it really well.
Nice.
It has this particular drone has like little it's called the DJI Avata, and it basically has shields. It's got like little protectors over all of the
around
blades,
prop.
so it's designed to bump into stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's got some like lidar that keeps it from doing it most of the time. Dude, I like this level. I'm glad we played red just for this. We haven't got stuck defending that stupid starbase.
Yeah, that's nice.
It is.
And we're
Reach
not
is on
gonna,
this
'cause
server.
this is, like,
He's
the
all
last-
over this one.
This is the last game.
Nice. Last game. Let's win this thing. We won't get stuck on that filthy Star Destroyer.
Nope. That's the goal.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Dude, so tell me about your chickens. You got some new you sent me some photos of your new chicken situation. You're rolling right along with that thing.
Yeah. We got 9 Australorps. These right now, these
Australorp.
little-
That's the name of the chicken?
That's the
That's
name
cool.
of the chicken. And then
Nice.
we got 3 red stars and 2 black stars.
Okay.
And then right now we have 6 of my mom's chickens, and she has some whiting true blues and some whiting true greens. And then yeah, I don't know. I think there might be one more kind. I don't know. Wait, Bailey's been getting to know all of them. She can practically tell them all apart. We have some nicknames for some of them. We spent a lot of time on Sunday watching them and talking about kind of getting to know them different, like kind of to tell them apart and whatnot.
Nice.
That was fun.
I love it.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah.
Ray's
No,
here.
Yeah, Jake's whole thing about chicken math, dude. That was like,
Chicken math.
I told Bailey about that, and we were like, that's totally. We were like doing chicken math all day, and we're laughing about it.
Expanding your chicken empire?
Well, not even like that's part of it, but like also you're trying to get to know these chickens and tell them apart and like keep track of all these and you're like, well, I got 6 of them look like this and have this feature, and then you're trying to hold that and tell them apart. You're like comparing different like you're trying to like figure out how you're gonna tell these things apart, and there's pattern math in that for sure.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. Yeah. Did Charles swing by to see your chicken situation?
To see the coop, we did talk about it.
Yeah.
He told me my thing is gonna be pretty heavy, which that's true. I knew that, but then he was saying I needed to move it. I would probably want to move it more frequently, so I'm like trying to figure out how.
Like that chicken combine design you were showing me.
Yeah, is a little too heavy.
Maybe
So-
it's got some kind of wheels, some kind of wheel situation.
Yeah, we need to put some wheels on it, definitely. But also, like, I don't know. I think I can lighten it up a little bit more too.
Nice.
I need to do that. There's so much to do right now. I did a whole planning session as well this weekend for the next month and a half or so. I have
Nice.
a fat list of things to do over there.
Anything for this scrum that we want to start tomorrow?
Yeah, I have things on there that part of the things that are on there are doing in this scrum. Yeah.
Dude,
They're
I
meant
think-
for that scrum.
I came up with a bunch of stuff for my family sprint for that period of time. What do you think we need? Okay, so we need just an asynchronous check-in method.
Yeah.
And then just like a common board maybe where we track some shit. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of it, right?
Well, yeah, you want to do it on ClickUp? I think we should do
Yeah.
like we're still doing the sprint plan tomorrow? Or when?
Yes.
Is that
I've got it on the schedule for tomorrow, but is it an asynchronous plan or is it like an in-person plan?
I don't know.
Because I was hearing people desire to do asynchronous. So what I was thinking is those with eyes that can see can join us, and we could have an awesome.
Yeah. You just
And then-
put up the boards. Everyone fills out their own stuff.
Yeah, we won't get as much participation without the tighter synchronization.
Yeah. Well,
But
at least the kickoff. I feel like if we, hey
Uh-huh.
man,
do the kickoff together.
yeah, I think
Okay.
if we do the sprint plan and we like
I'm with you.
facilitate the board, the getting to tasks
Getting to
in
the-
ClickUp,
Yeah.
or tasks on Miro that you put in ClickUp,
Yeah.
I think
I'm with you.
putting it
We
in
could tag team that. We could tag team like a fast and natural planning method on some stuff.
Well, we could
but we could
split
also
them up too. If you
we could
want
also just
to.
have people NPM their own stuff too. Just like do
We could
think
make
through.
a breakout room, and I can do half a
Ooh.
room.
Ooh.
'Cause
I like
just
it.
I just did it for myself. I know how to do it.
Yeah. Once you practice it, it's not impossible to figure out.
Everybody's seen it, and it's like you want to
Yeah.
emphasize like whatever. Watch it, do it, teach it. Like or whatever. Like,
Use your
yeah,
words. Use your words.
Yeah, watch it. Show me how to do it.
Yep.
Watch me do it, and
Yep.
then let me teach doing it or whatever.
Yeah.
Let me
Do it.
practice
Teach doing
teaching
it. Yeah.
Practice teaching it. So, the faster you can turn that wheel.
Yo. Okay. So, in-person plan tomorrow. That gives us a ton of runway because we can then teach everybody the asynchronous method. We can get them all on the same board, and then we could have probably during that time we could have like 1 or 2 hours, between in the 2-week thing. You could very easily have like 1 hour check-in at some point,
Right, in the 2 weeks, yeah, you could do like a midpoint.
But
Or
what do you
maybe
think the frequent? Yeah.
Or maybe we could do it like we could do it in this.
Tell me more.
Like we could check in right before streaming on Tuesday or something like that.
Yeah, totally.
Time,
Yeah,
That way
we
we
could.
don't actually really add any more overhead.
You make sense to me.
Ow!
Victory must be secured.
I got him. I got BB-8.
You got it.
I got him, but I threw a grenade on the ground as he was trying to electrocute my shins. We both went down. It was glorious. Yes.
We shall soon
I'm with you. I'm with you on the no additional night situation. I love it.
prepare to advance.
Well, here's the thing.
And we don't necessarily
Okay,
have to do an
principles.
hour. Like
We,
The
yeah.
resistance forces have
I think
You could-
I really think like the video
so
like
shall we. Take
Mhm.
that position.
I think that's a good. If we can,
Do the audio in Signal.
yeah, do audio, and
Oh, we got to go to the next one.
like thinking.
I'm like, yo, it's so quiet here. Why is it so quiet here?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Do the
basic
asynchronous-
principles. Basic principles. What do we need? It kind of goes like, what you need is, dude, this is a nice place to hang out. We can just shoot them all day from up here, assuming this is gonna get us some kind of victory. We just hold this thing up here. I like it. I like the distance I'm at here. There's actually cover here if you want to get behind these crates. They have to work harder to shoot you. Okay, so we need an asynchronous check-in method. We need to train on that. We need the dates for when we're gonna meet. and decide on that for how long or whatever. That's just, I mean, but decide from what we decide on. We should decide on that. And then we just have to have a method for recording our shit. And we can probably do little mini work sessions. Like we're going to take 10 minutes, and for the next 10 minutes, you're just going to populate your sprint board with
Right.
what you want, you know. And then, okay, for the next 10 minutes, we're going to all work our
'Cause
NPM
everyone's
on one
seen
topic.
it. Everyone's
Yeah.
seen it done already once. So definitely like giving a large chunk of time for people to work it on their own, and then going through and whatever we can have everyone present it and have everyone like chip in, help out a little bit. That's, I don't know how
Yeah.
to say that.
Well,
but
and with it being a family sprint, I think one of my major goals is going to be to have a daily scrum with my family. Like just to have it's just so easy to blow it off or to not feel like it has to really be done. And so with this being a family sprint, I'm going to have a solid daily scrum with my family, and I also have a couple little things I want to work on in regards to helping just the overall sprinting process. We've got a minute to. We'll probably have to get down there eventually.
let's go.
We got Ray here. I got a great beat on Ray, and I got 46 seconds on the clock. Nice. Nice job, guys. I have this thing I want to build. That's like a family sprint tracker.
Like in what? Build how?
Well, it's kind of half whiteboard and half pegboard. And on the whiteboard half, you can kind of say that yellow means this, and then you've got little yellow pegs, and you can put the little yellow pegs in the completed column or whatever.
Yeah.
Or in like and anyway, I thought it was a way. You could easily adapt it for kids for house tasks. But we have about 12 tasks that we have to do every day in our house, and we don't have a good method for keeping track of it. So I'm going to create a board where we can track it together. My family can track it together. Who's doing what tasks, when they got done. I think it'll make a huge improvement in terms of the quality of our of not only the house getting the tasks done every day.
Yeah, if you could
but
facilitate that for other people would pay for that.
well, with this little board, I think you can. This board is like the homespun
Yeah,
version.
that's
I think
a
you could.
product.
I think that's a product,
Or
and I think you
that.
could teach people how to use it. That's training. It could come with the
Yeah.
product. Oh, they just got me, or they got the OT. Mother junkers. That's a hard one.
Yep.
That's a very hard one. No worries. We were in practice mode today. We were learning some new stuff.
And we won quite a few.
We won quite a few. Well, dude. Okay. Well, then let's before I get off my computer here, I'm gonna get that on the schedule for the Dude Core,
Yeah,
and
let's,
we'll get the basics set up here.
Just do the announcement for tomorrow, and then
Yeah.
let's live plan with everyone who shows up.
Yeah.
The exact date and frequency of the asynchronous and the possible one-time
I love it.
meetup or something like that.
Breakout rooms where we'll do NPM, and we'll have a quick
we
up.
can do breakout rooms, or we can do that. I feel like if we could do breakout rooms and we can facilitate it, walking through the NPM, each one-on-one, or we can say, here's 10-15 minutes, work on this, and then we'll go over them in 3 minutes. And but we just gotta try and stay tight on anything we time out for giving time to any one person.
Yeah, it's 100%. No, that's good. That's good management. That's good management. It's 5 minutes to do it, 10 minutes start to finish, and then
and then
exactly.
We spend 5 minutes
Timer
on each person.
Yeah, timer on
or
NPM.
7 minutes if there's 4 people. We could spend 20 if we're gonna be there an hour and a half. I think it's an hour and a half is how long the other plans are. So
Yep, hour and a half.
should we
I think
able
we
to
could
do it in that?
We should be able to do that. Let's do it, dude. That sounds awesome. Have a fantastic rest of your evening. I will see you tomorrow evening at the very least.
Yes.
Later, Gator.
Peace.
Peace.